really come home to roost. Then you have the current economic situation where all of a sudden, even as recently as last spring, we still had some building going on in town. We still had some plans being for subdivisions and homes and everything being presented to the local planning commission, and all of a sudden that's evaporated. So that our revenue stream from, as Bob pointed out, from building permits and licensing fees and things of that nature, way down from what we anticipated. And because of the economy, people aren't buying automobiles and the excise tax. So all of these things, we anticipated a reduction in revenue on our building permits fees. We knew that the market had softened and slowed down. We knew that the economy was slowing down, so we even cut down our revenue estimates on our excise tax anticipated revenue. We guessed wrong. Things went south a lot more quickly than we anticipated, quickly than government anticipated. And as a result, here we sit in the current fiscal year trying to deal with the situation. I think the actions that we're taking, proposing this evening, and have proposed in the last few weeks, of staying the course and making some reductions in the current fiscal year is very prudent. I think it's necessary. We have to do it in the current fiscal year, just because we don't know what's going to occur. We didn't get a very good forecast from our local state rep and state senator in relation to local aid. The governor has said right now we're held harmless, but now we're talking about, and everybody's starting to talk the same language here in relation to, well, maybe not. We are going to have to revisit this. So we have to take these steps that we're anticipating now. I think it's prudent that we continue to the hiring freezes and watching our dollars in the current fiscal year, because again, everything we have going on right now, every level of service that we currently provide, every employee that we currently have on the payroll, you have to anticipate carrying forward into 2010. So if we can reduce some of those costs now, we'll reduce the cost moving forward. And again, 2010, we're looking at $1.75 million deficit as we speak right now, and that could get worse. In order to maintain level services, which we know that our cost to do that right now is approximately 6% to carry it forward on the school department side, 3% on the general government side. That's just for level services. Our revenue stream doesn't support that. So I think what you're hearing tonight from us is that collectively we've come to the realization that we need to hold the line. We need to take some cost-cutting measures in order to do that, to get through the current fiscal year and carry us forward and have the least amount of impact going forward to 2010. With any luck, if we have some other, and I want to address a couple of the issues, like the NRS, how could we possibly come up with, $400,000 additional growth? How did that happen? Well, I've been on the board for a long time, and we have a new assessor here, much to her credit. We had the opportunity to evaluate properties based upon the June 30th values at any particular time since, what, 1989. I got on the board in 1988. I don't remember that we took that vote, but what a wise vote we took back in 1989. But I don't even remember taking the vote, which allowed us the opportunity to do the assessed valuation based on June 30th. We always did it as of January 1st. Historically here in North Reading, we've always done it as of January 1st. But somewhere back in 1989, we availed ourselves of the opportunity to do this. We never factored that in, and we never did it from that time going forward. I don't ever recall every time we talk about assessed valuations and people are worried about their assessments and they come in for abatements, they're always told, as of January 1st, the previous year, you got to wait for that to catch up with the downturn in the marketplace. Thank goodness you found it. If we went away, we normally operated, this is what we're talking about, looking at how we're doing business. Terrific job, produce some revenue for us. Our treasurer, collector's office, obviously they're stepping up their paces. We've seen an increase in delinquencies in property taxes and excise taxes and other taxes that are paid to the town of North Reading. It was always fairly steady and wasn't a large enough number to get overly concerned about. Now we're at the level where it is. We're cash strapped. They've stepped up their collection efforts, and we've seen the fruits of their labor in a short period of time, and that's a good thing from the town's standpoint. So how did it happen? That's how it happened. That's the way we've always factored it in, that's the way we've always handled it, and come to find out we could do it differently than we have now. And we are looking at operating differently, doing things differently. costs in relation to, yes, permits and license fees are down. When we were in the booming period, we didn't hire anybody. What we did is we increased the hours of the personnel that were in the office in order to take care of that increase in business. So we're not operating with any more people than we need. I mean, some of these departments, we have 1.5 people. We still had the same 1.5 people when we had all of that business, but that 1.5, that half-time person was working full-time. And those people were, again, with their sharing responsibilities between different departments. So I think we're still operating fairly efficiently in the general government side. GIC, health insurance. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but it does take an awful lot of effort in order to negotiate a settlement with people, all of the collective bargaining groups that we have to deal with in order to effectuate some change. But we've also, when we're looking at the GIC, there is one product within the GIC portfolio that for the same money, or thereabouts the same premium that they're paying now, employees pay now, would actually end up costing the town operating more money. So the GIC is not a cure-all for the town of North Reading. It's an option, and if most people go into the HMOs as opposed to the BPO plan in the GIC, yeah, we can realize some savings on both sides of the equation. But if they all willing to pay about the same amount of premium, they can take on the best plan that the Commonwealth offers under the GIC plan, and in effect, would actually cost the town of North Reading more money. So is it truly a solution for us? We're investigating it, we're looking at it, could very well be, but there are a whole set of nuances that we have to be concerned about. But when you start messing with people's health insurance premiums, and health insurance plans, people get concerned, as you and I would be. And we are asking the employees, and a very clear message was sent by members of the administration, members of the board, that we're not talking about a change in split here. They got that message, I think, pretty loud and clear from the chairman at the last meeting that we had with the employees. I think part of everybody, I'm frustrated too as a member of the board. I don't think the insurance issue has been handled on as timely a basis as it should have been, or should be, but we're handling it, and we are addressing it, and we're spending a lot of resources and time on it. I think part of the frustration gets added to because a lot of what's being done may not be as transparent as you would like it to be. We meet a couple of times a month, sometimes 3 times a month, school committee also, so that's very public. We talk about a lot of issues, but we don't get into the minutiae of the details because there's an inordinate amount of time spent by members of these boards offline, during the week, during the evenings, more time in those situations than there are the 3 or 4 hours that we meet twice a month, trying to get these things negotiated, settled, addressed, conversations that take place, and trying to strategize over things. And I just would hope that you can appreciate the effort that's being put in, that we're not dragging our feet, just that it doesn't move as quickly as we'd like it to, or as you would like it to. And the suggestions have not fallen on deaf ears. They just maybe can't be implemented as quickly as you'd like. I think that the Fiscal Advisory Committee's recommendations have, and again, I will apologize as one member of the board, when they came in at the end of September with their presentation, I took that more as an update as to where we are, where we're at right now. I didn't take that as, here you go, take it and run. I mean, we have not vetted these suggestions out at all. We haven't kicked the ideas around as a board at all. And again, that was the only presentation, as a member of the board, it's the only presentation that I've had to even look at those issues. And I think, I sat there with interest with some of the suggestions, and I think a lot of them are worthy of consideration. The implementation might not come as quickly as you'd like, but I think we need to start something. So I think this evening, if you go away with anything, please feel good about the fact that we are trying to, first of all, manage through the current fiscal year budget and maintain the level of services that we were able to put together and patch up last April, particularly on the school side, because nobody wants to compromise that at this particular point in time. And also realize that, and I find it interesting too, that we heard Mr. Kirby say, looked at all the salaries, and it doesn't appear that there's anybody in the employment of the town of North Reading that's overcompensated, getting grossly overpaid, and isn't earning what they deserve. We have strong advocacy groups for the schools. I haven't heard anybody in all my years say school teachers are overpaid. They're not, you know. Police officers are not overpaid. Firefighters are not overpaid. We might have differences of opinion in detail rates and what they earn for details, but their base pay, they earn it. The time that they put in for their overtime and all this, they earn it. They're there. They might make $80,000 or $100,000, but they're there 80 hours a week. So it's funny when we hear that the teachers aren't overpaid, the police officers, firefighters aren't overpaid. You know, senior centers being run efficiently for low cost and almost no cost. The level of services we get there are exceptional. We all love our state rep, and we all love our state senator. But you know what? We keep blaming state government. So individually, we keep re-electing the same people. We think our teachers are doing a great job and are underpaid. All our public servants are underpaid. You know, the only ones that take the brunt of it are the local people here. On occasion, we get turned out of office because we're the first and easy target. You know, unfortunately, collectively as a group, whether it be state government, Congress, we keep re-electing our congressmen, we keep re-electing our state reps and our state legislators, but collectively we can't get it done. We can't get it done. We have governors that are elected with 70% mandates. They still can't get it done. So we have to hold ourselves responsible, try and do what's right. We have to be sensitive to not just the school children, but also the taxpayers of the town of Reading, those that don't have kids in school. I mean, Danny, you give a whole litany of lists of supplies that have to be brought to school by the kids. Other than the compass and the three-hole punch, I remember as a kid, I got out of North Reading High School 36 years ago. We bought those things. We look forward to going shopping for all those things, all those three-ring binders, all those notebooks, all those other things. Yeah, we look forward to it, but I mean, we bought those things then. You know, those things are still being purchased. You know, but I also went out and
like
played.
25 cents back then.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
My parents weren't making the same money I was making either. The homes are $12,900. You know, so, right. But you know, so if you leave with anything tonight, we're working very hard to get through the current fiscal year, maintain the current level of service, and be very cognizant of what we can do to maintain what we have going forward. And it's not an easy task. We need to also undertake all these things that are going to be suggested to us. And again, I apologize if we haven't moved quickly enough on those things. But again, what was presented to the board at the end of September, I anticipated something more formal coming forward so we start vetting them out one by one. So, thank you.
Jeff?
On the 09 budget, the school had presented a program of cost reduction and cuts for this 09 budget. Has the town government come up with a plan similar to that and to address ways that they can reduce some costs within the buildings and grounds and so on?
The town's plan is to implement the hiring freeze, and we anticipate that we'll be able to save substantial dollars as a result of that. The next approach that we would institute would be a budget freeze. And so that's how we would approach the problem is, I believe that realistically, those are the two areas where you'll be able to achieve the greatest savings, is through a hiring freeze. And if it turns out that the hiring freeze is not resulting in any savings, what we'll do is a budget freeze, as the chairman showed here today. And what we'll do is we'll set those dollars aside so they can't be spent. So it'll be a formal budget freeze.
What about utility costs and schools cutting back on ink cartridges, things like that?
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Although, keep in mind that the amount of copying that we do versus the schools is substantially less. But we're already implementing austerity measures to try to save money to the greatest extent possible, but it's our view that we will not save substantial dollars there. That the savings to be achieved are through the hiring freeze and through a formal freeze and tying up of monies in everyone's budget. That's how we'll save money.
Jeff, you noticed there was no handouts tonight. However, there will be a posting on the town website for those who want to obtain a copy.
You notice there's no heat in here tonight.
I'm shivering over here. At Town Hall, you know, for those that have walked through Town Hall, and I've taken notice of this and complained a little bit, is there are parts of Town Hall that seem like they're overheated. The system is so archaic you know, in the selectman's office, there's a switch in the ventilator that we turn on